Hey, what's up, guys? No, I think I can come up with a better introduction. Oh, Butchie. I guess I should provide information about this person for those who might not be familiar with Butch here. Butch here is, or was, a cartoonist over at Nick. And as he puts, he quote-unquote created our childhood, since he made such iconic shows such as The Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, and that's it. That's all he made. Okay, but to be fair and serious, he did make other shows, but they were not as successful. Anyway, years go by and Butch quit working for Nick, and he has a YouTube channel, is liked, then hated because of controversy, and blah blah blah. It's not really important for this video. All you gotta know are his commissions and his art itself. So if I showed you this, how much would you say this is worth? Alright, time's up. The answer? $200. For this? For being the cartoonist for all these shows, and they all have the same art style, more or less. This is not his art style, nor does he really seem to go for that. It's more like a comic book-ish, which I feel like that people want your original style, or, you know, the style that you're known for. Even though, again, it's not really his, to my knowledge. People, of course, criticize Butchie here because, well, I mean, let's be real here, this doesn't really scream $200 effort here. Now, I'm being fair, and I guess in defense of Butch, maybe people just don't really care. It's not really about the art you're paying for, but more so like the name or brand. Sort of like how this is expensive for being a very simple design, but one big oopsie Butch made here is by tracing and referencing his art commissions. Even though, like, you'd think he'd have enough experience to come up with original stuff. So the point of this vid is to really just redraw his art, you know, sort of do a professional versus amateur. So let's show off the first art piece. So for the first one, I chose his drawing of Mikasa from Attack on Titan. I think this is the only one to be a commission that I'm doing from him. The other two, I don't think they are, to my knowledge. So the first thing about this one is that it is not traced, but heavily referenced. Here's the original. I'm sure you guys can see some problems here. I see a couple. So for my version, I originally was going to do a full body pose, but I didn't like how it was going, so I just restarted the whole thing. And instead did only the face. I was also trying other stuff, so normally I just do solid coloring in and then shading. But I've seen some people do this technique, which honestly I think is a bit better. It saves time for me compared to my other drawings. And this is how this one turned out. Oh, and I almost forgot, but I also did another version of each drawing by turning the characters into the classic style that he tends to do, or as close as it can be. Here is my version of that as well. I don't have any footage of me drawing the characters in this style because it was just a lot of trial and error. It really wasn't interesting to watch. Now, not to be biased or anything, but I think we all can agree which one is better here. So for the next redraw I did was this one of Link and Cosmo. Again, I do see a little bit of problems. Some are, I'd say, more so nitpicks. Like how Link seems to have the same clothes of Ocarina of Time, but the hair of Twilight Princess. And also the fact that pretty much every Link is actually left-handed, but also the eyes look kind of wonky, which as an artist I can relate, but again, you'd think he would have no problem since he's had years of experience. So for my version, I came out with a basic pose and also gave him two fairies to be like Cosmo and Wanda. The only two things I'm not too sure about is the hair color, since it should be a bit more brown instead of blonde. Bit of a small nitpick, but whatever. The next one, I don't know if it should be a nitpick, but he looks a bit too feminine. And I say I don't know because he's sort of always been a very androgynous. And this is the final outcome. This one came out surprisingly good since I really didn't have any sort of plan besides the pose, really. As for the other one, well, here you go. I'll let you make up your own mind of which one you prefer. Okay, so for the last one, I chose a Naruto drawing, specifically this one. One thing about his art that I haven't really talked about is that I don't really like his color palette. I don't know, I think it just looks a bit too saturated, and then it just sort of makes it look, well, kinda ugly. Also, in a couple of his drawings, including this one, he tends to put characters that don't really make sense, like, what do these characters have in common? Am I missing something? I will say I had the most difficulty with this one. I'm not sure why. I guess I'm just not used to drawing young people. Because when I was drawing him, I made him look a bit too old, even though he's a kid. And I'm sure you can see me just doing a bit of experimenting. And this is the final outcome of this version. So for the most part, it's alright, which I'm proud since I always have difficulty making anime characters a bit more semi-realistic. As for the more cartoony version, here it is. Gave him the standard anime elbow up pose. I was also trying to figure out how to draw his hair, since that was pretty difficult. And here are all the pieces. So, what was the purpose of this vid again? There really wasn't any. It was basically me just talking crap by trying to make better versions of a professional artist's work. Did I succeed? I don't know. Not really an answer I can say without being biased. Anyway, that's all for this vid. If you made it to the end, thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, well, there just so happens to be 2 buttons down there that you can press. Alright, I gotta go sell these for $200 now. Peace, guys.